Hi everyone, welcome into My Chamber TV, the heartbeat of our community. I'm your host, Barbara Marvel Kelly. With me, I have the honor of having Mr. Paul Friedlander.
The co-host.
With Wes Pasco.
West Pasco Chamber of Commerce, Membership Development Director. And hey, how about a shout out to all those people in New Zealand and Australia that are watching us right
that's
now.
for sure. Hi guys. All the way around the globe. That is so cool.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And speaking of cool, we have the honor of having Jacqueline and Ross, who happen to be travel consultants, and you have quite a history behind you, don't you? I know I don't travel enough, but I have a feeling you're going to convince me that I need to start doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell us about your business and your membership with the Chamber.
West Pasco Chamber is a fabulous chamber to belong to. It gets you out in the community. I mean, look at Paul, grinning like a Cheshire cat over there. You know.
Always.
But it is, if you belong to the chamber, and I think it's important you belong to the community. Mm-hmm. If you're in the community, people know who you are, and they build that know, like and trust attitude. And this community I've grown to like this community an awful lot. I know a lot of people here, and the chamber is just great though.
We appreciate it, but tell us about JR World Travel.
JR World Travel. JR is Jackie and Ross,
Right.
of course,
Yes.
Ross can speak for himself, but it's like he's from Australia, I'm from New Zealand, although I spent 30 years in Australia as well. And we've both travelled, and when we're now here, we decided what are we going to do. So we decided to do the travel business.
How cool is that? When did you start that?
About 3.5 years ago.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, we spent an awful lot of time traveling together, which is what brought us together, that is. And so consequently, then we just said, well, why aren't we promoting this to more people? So we decided, well, that's what we were going to do. And we established the business, and from here, what we've done is we've specialized in groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we particularly enjoy the fact that we can bring, education to the groups by expediting everything from the standpoint of whether it's getting through an airport a ticket counter or getting all your luggage in a group, all the luggage goes together, to go to Europe for a Viking River cruise or whatever. Whatever the issue, whatever the situation is, we find an answer or have one already in our bag of knowledge.
Sort of more about educating, I think, having people to be better travellers, better educated in travelling. The world is a different place today.
Yes.
I was just going to ask that question.
A huge different place today. So the education, be aware of your surroundings, know what to do. There's a couple of things that people in the cruising industry don't seem to really appreciate, is the fact that by the letter of the law, you have to have a passport when you leave the country.
Yes.
But with the cruising being so prevalent, and especially in Florida here, they allow you to go on a cruise without a passport. You have to have a birth certificate, photo ID. Now that's fine, but the problem is if you get sick or you're ill and you're offshore and you're somewhere else, you can't get back by plane. So
Really?
Yeah, because planes you have to
have to have a passport. I always tell people, don't be cheap, go buy a passport.
I know. What's it? A couple of bucks, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
you wish.
I think it's a several $100s now for a
Are you
passport.
serious?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So it is
I don't mean to
expensive.
sound. You can tell I don't travel anymore.
Well, but the other
even
thing is,
still,
He
it's
has
good
2
for,
passports and I
it's
have
good for
3.
5 or 10 years.
Yeah, so it's
So-
so people need to realise the ramifications of what happens.
Yes.
You're stuck somewhere. And the other thing is the insurance. Please take out travel insurance.
Yes. You know, that is such a very, very good point, because so many people wait till they retire to travel.
Yeah.
And, when you get up there in
Exactly.
years, there's a lot of different health issues that can happen when you're away.
Absolutely.
This is really very, very good information. I never knew that.
But
We
do.
wanna-
Jackie,
Yeah,
I
I'm sorry.
need to ask you guys a question, because
Sure.
I was under the impression, I think we maybe had this conversation, that 3 or 4 years ago, coming January 1st, everybody had to have a passport to travel.
Well-
But the ships aren't enforcing that.
It's not the ships. The Immigration Department have agreed that if you leave the port and come back to the same port on a ship, that they have relaxed the rules as such. Personally, I think it's stupid.
Yeah, thank you.
Because the next big thing that's going to happen that the TSA are talking about, hasn't said they're going to, but the probability of everybody in the US requiring a passport to fly internally looks like it may happen for security.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
you know, we were on a cruise last year and what have you, and somebody had fallen, her own fault,
Right.
did not have the right insurance, and she had a $27,000 bill when she got back.
Oh my goodness.
Because you've got to be
Yeah.
brought out of Mexico and you've got to come back, and then you're on board the ship, all your medications, the hospitals and everything else. You know?
Right.
So we try to be more educative than anybody can get up there and say, hey, I've got this for sale and that for sale and go here and do that. But let's you know, get some education to people.
We service in many, many aspects, and one of the additional ones is for disabilities.
Yeah.
Contrary to some belief, any disability is accommodated in regards to travel, whether it be on a cruise line or whatever. And from the standpoint of animals as well, while most generally animals are not welcome on board a ship, they are with regards to disabilities. And the ship provides and makes arrangements for that animal
Makes
as well.
allowances.
So, and we can do such things as for a paraplegic, of which we've had a client was, to put a hospital bed on board the ship. Now, mind you, we can help with the arrangements. Of course, the individual has to be able to have
They
the
rent the
insurance
equipment,
or be able
They
to
rent-
afford
Sure,
the costs associated with doing that. But anything is possible. There is nothing that we can't do with regards to travel. And that means anywhere in the world. That's why we're called world travel. From Antarctica to Australia, New Zealand, the Far East, it doesn't matter. And matter of fact, I've been in countries that you could not travel with a U.S. passport. I have two passports. I'm an Australian citizen and a U.S. citizen. And
I have three.
Jackie has three.
Very
She's now
nice.
a U.S. citizen, but was an Australian as well as having been born in New Zealand.
But if you
And-
leave the country, sorry Ross, if you leave the country that you are a citizen of, you must leave on that passport. And you must enter the next country on the passport that you are a citizen
Exactly.
of. Otherwise, they refuse you entry. So.
You know, if I ever travel again, you would be the first people that
Oh, that's
I would
nice.
call, because of the first comment you made is how things are so different now in traveling.
Well, it
and
is.
you don't know what to expect. You know,
Exactly.
years ago when I was traveling, it was like, you know, they say to get there, you know, so many hours before, and sometimes we would, you know, wait until the
cares?
last whatever.
Not now.
And now,
You won't get on the plane.
No,
You
in
won't get on
fact,
the
my
ship.
husband's leaving for New York this Friday morning, and he hasn't traveled in a little while. He's getting there 4 hours ahead of time. He's just going to plant himself down and
that's
read a
right.
book and
Well,
be
international's
relaxed.
like that. But you need to. It's got
and
worse
before
and
we
worse.
run out of time, there's a couple things I want to
Absolutely.
make sure.
2 minutes.
Talk about the flyer that we put in this month. I know you have a lot of different trips, but talk about
okay.
just so people have an idea what kind
All
of
right.
trips you
What-
plan.
all right. One of the things we do every year is we have a networking seminar. Different way to do business today, you go out, you network. So we have a networking seminar. And we have guest speakers and everything else. This year, we've got Sue Archer Reynolds, who is a realtor, and she's going to be talking about how do you talk to a stranger, convert them into a client and referral partner, perhaps. Bearing in mind the brilliance of the seas, Royal Caribbean out of Tampa, 10th of November. All right? There's about 2,300 people on there. 75% of them are from Tampa Bay. What a great way to go and get business.
There you go.
Excellent idea.
And then we've partnered that with our doo-wop group. We have a
You
50s,
do-
60s, a 50s, 60s
There
group.
you go.
Yep,
I
and
love it.
they're on board as well. So 10th of November.
There's your first trip.
Oh my goodness, that is fun. When is it?
4 nights, 10th of November, so it's a Thursday, back Monday morning.
There you go.
We have never
Excellent.
been on a cruise. Of course, we work most of the cruises because we escort the groups. And that means that we are responsible for any issues that you have when you're on board. You don't have to go to that desk. You come to us because we can get it done quicker. Because if you go to the desk, you're going to just get in the line in the queue
Yes,
and on the list of what has to be done.
You guys are good people to hang out with then.
We have
When you
fun.
travel- I can tell.
But Barbara, and I know we're wrapping, but here's what's neat, and I sent it to you. And that thing is, they basically, you've heard it already. They take you from the front door of your home to your trip, back to the front door of your
We
home.
do
That's
everything for you, all your
excellent.
documentation, your online check-in, we print all your documents out, and there's no cost
Yeah.
to the client for that.
And
We
as-
love that.
And as far as this seminar, this networking seminar, we have never been on a ship or on a trip that we didn't find a new client.
always.
And that works for anybody
that
who
travels.
wants to network. You get out, and especially in a casual environment, you've got a much better chance of sitting down with somebody and finding some commonality
Yes.
that
Yep,
brings
absolutely.
Yes.
networking
Well, it's
and
forming
money,
those relationships.
money back to your income.
Well, we're going to have you back again and talk
Love to
about
do
that,
that.
before
We-
the trip and everything.
We can do that.
These guys are just awesome.
Told you they'd
We've
be
got-
Awesome.
Thank you.
Many
Well,
things.
thank you for joining us today.
Bye, Australia. Bye,
Appreciate
New
that.
Zealand.
Yes.
Bye, Pasco County.
And
Bye.
thanks for being out there. We'll be right back after this.